locked in, locked and loaded, man. We back here, man. Pressure on diamonds once again. We have a good little topic, man, to go for today. You know, that was inspired by my guy, man, Thomas here, man. So Alex Rose here once again. Thomas Solano back at it. We back at it. It's been a little bit, but we back. We back, man. So
well, we had that holiday break, right? A little bit of Thanksgiving and stuff like that, and Black Friday. Nah, I'm kidding. I didn't do none of that Black Friday, but we did Thanksgiving. Man, how was your Thanksgiving?
Man, it was solid, man. It was really solid, man. Had to, normally I'm bouncing around to 12 different houses and got to go see this parent and that parent and these folks and those. And this month we literally just kept it real simple, man. Just one house, just a couple of like my folks and my fiance's folks and I think a grandma or two. And then we just tapped in, man. Had some good food, gained a couple pounds. I'm trying to give them back now, but I'm trying to give them away again. But I found some weight this past week. How about yourself, man?
Oh, bro, it was good. I mean, it was a little bit smaller than we normally do. Normally, there's about like 30 plus of us. It was a little more intimate at about 20. We had a peaceful protest at my brother's house. So, we're going to call it that to be COVID compliant, I guess. But, bro, it was beautiful, man. It's my favorite holiday. Growing up, obviously, Christmas was my favorite holiday. But, the tides have turned and the tables shifted, I guess, so to speak. And now it's my kids' favorite holiday. But I enjoy that one, too, just to see the joy on their face. A holiday Thanksgiving for me is it's special, man, because you break bread. I think it's the best way to have communion and community and build community and stuff. So it was beautiful. We did 2 fried turkeys, bro, 2 hams, all the fixings. Like we go all out. I think we still have some ham, man. I'm eating ham sandwiches, ham and eggs. Like it's good, bro. It's good.
Man, after Thanksgiving, man, you good for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks afterwards, man. Just leftovers on leftovers on leftovers, man. You had the fried turkeys too.
Yep.
Man, fried turkey.
That's the only way to do it, bro.
I don't understand how anybody does turkeys any other way, bro. I don't understand how turkeys. Like I don't understand a baked turkey anymore, man. I don't get it. Fried turkey is the way to go.
Yeah. Luca, can you please stop? Man. Hey, they're in school, bro. I got a 9-year-old and a 5-year-old, and it's fun. I enjoy doing this, but man, sometimes it's a little distracting.
That's all good, man. Hey, man, family is what it's all about, man. Family is what it's all about, man. Shoot,
yes,
man, today, man, we got some firemen going on today, man, and I think you brought it up, just the traits of an entrepreneur, so what are some of those traits of an entrepreneur, man? And like some of those things that people, that we look out for, because some people have a traits of an entrepreneur, man, they bring it to even like their regular job, man, they have those, and things like that, man. So what kind of inspired you to, for that type of topic?
Honestly, man, it was me I do a lot of trying to figure myself out, and I know that you can relate to this. And so, through personal development and reading of books and stuff, you start to see there's a common theme. And then there's that comparison, which most of the time is not good when you're comparing yourself. But when you are, I guess, trying to kind of determine where you are in the process, I think that's a pretty healthy way, as far as comparison goes. And so I was just inspired and I was curious, like, man, what are those key traits? Because I think there's a handful of them. In my thought process of trying to figure that out, I think there's one that has to dominate and is like an absolute must-have in order to be successful. But yeah, I think there's a handful of them. Obviously, work ethic, hustle, want, drive. You know what I mean? I think some of those things. It's interesting. I was actually talking to a guy earlier who's going to be coming on board here on the squad, and he's having this conversation with me, and he's talking about kind of the journey he's been on, and he asked a couple of questions about like our platform and our opportunity and things like that. And he was like, well, what's imperative, when it comes to like business is, trust is key and this and that. And I was like, bro, that's absolutely the truth. Like, trust and relationship building is what everything is about, especially when you're getting into business and stuff. And he was like, yeah, but maybe like, what if you don't have the credibility? Like how does that work? And he's asking all these great questions. And I'm like, look, bro, and I explained our system without going into too much detail here. And I just said at the bottom line, I was like, you know what it is, dude, is like you have a natural understanding of relationship building and communication. And I think that's what it takes in order to succeed in business, no matter what the business is. I said, you have that gift naturally just through our conversation. But what have you done with it? And he was like, you know what? I've always known that, but I suffer from analysis paralysis. And I was like, ooh, that's a good thing too, to kind of talk about. So really the inspiration, long-winded answer is, just trying to figure myself out and kind of dissecting my journey, which I do constantly. And again, I know you do that as well. So there's a handful of them. We'll dive into a couple of them. And then I'll talk about, or I'll share with you what I think is that fundamental must-have in order for success. But I'm curious to kind of see what you think. Like what what are your thoughts on
that? Yeah, man. I think just some, and just thinking kind of about myself, because I could really go on just on my personal example for myself, but you see other people, as well. I think one of the biggest things, a trait of an entrepreneur is, thinking outside of the box, being able to, rethink and, and kind of pivot around different situations and try not to lose a step, and still keep moving forward. I think, an entrepreneur or not just an entrepreneur, but a trait of an entrepreneur is they have a can do no matter what type of attitude, especially like a successful one. Like no matter what's going on, we got to figure it out. We're going to move forward. Like they don't throw in the towel easily. You know what I'm saying? Or they don't throw in the towel at all. It's like they lose. Instead of losing, they're learning. There's wins and there's learns. There's not a win and a loss mentality. It's it's like, hey, it's either I'm gonna win or I'm gonna learn this time and get back on the horse the next time. I think an entrepreneur has that type of mentality because, if it's to be, it's up to them. They're the tip of the spear of their business, of their organization, of their, company, of what they lead. They're the tip of the spear. And if everything's so if everything crumbles, they know that they can bet on themselves. Betting on themselves. So I think a trait of somebody that can be an entrepreneur is somebody that's willing to bet on themselves. That's willing to be like, you know what, I'm going to bet on myself. I'm going to go after it. And then, I think somebody that's that's one trait, is somebody that's willing to bet on themselves no matter what, and they're just willing to move forward. Like who cares? Like who cares? And also, I think another one is somebody that really doesn't care about what other people think about them.
Right, bro. Yeah, I think that's absolutely imperative, but a lot of people struggle with that. I know I struggled with that, the first couple of years. And actually, depending on maybe who I'm talking to and who I'm, approaching, that fear, creeps back in and stuff. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. The fear of what they think, of what other people think about them.
Yeah, exactly. Because you said not caring, but I think, human nature, we're just kind of wired to care and worry or have fear of, how we're perceived, so to speak. So You know, I don't know if you've ever experienced that. I think you have, just based on your reaction. Actually, I know you have, you know, just because I know you, but touch on that a little bit, man. Like, is there a strategy to work past that? Or is it just, man, being willing to get punched in the mouth a few times and, you know, get back up? Or what, like, what do you think?
Yeah, and so I think what helps with that, or at least with me, with is is seeking guidance from others that are maybe at a further position than I am, in
Okay.
is seeking guidance because I do have that, because I do think about, well, like, oh shoot, well, if I say it this way, or if I sound like how do I sound when I'm talking to somebody, you know, if some, you know, or if I'm speaking to somebody, you know, if I'm talking to somebody that may have a business, that may have a different type of business, you know, if I'm talking to somebody that may have a different, you know, type of education, or maybe further along in life than I am, that is older than me, like, do they have more experience than me, you know, type of thing. So me helping with that, helping get over that, I speak to people that are maybe that that I see as mentors to myself, and they help guide me through that. And the way they help me guide through that is be like, well, shoot, well, just remember, the people that you're talking to, they don't have your experience. They haven't been through what you've been through, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your experience, like, they may have a bunch of experience. They might be a neurosurgeon, you know what I'm saying? Like, they might work on brains and, you know, and the human anatomy and all that stuff, but they don't have, but you have that same type of experience, just in a totally different field. So you can bring that, so you bring a totally different, you know, a totally different thing to the table than they do. And they might not have,
Yeah.
they might have zero experience in that aspect. So you bring a lot of value. So just knowing your own value can help with, you know, can help a lot with getting over that fear of what other people think about you, knowing your own value,
Yep.
knowing your own worth. But when somebody's brand new, I think when somebody's probably brand new into being an entrepreneur, as you know, as we all were at one point, very brand
Yep.
new, and getting your ideas out there and getting your business out there, you know, depending on the nature of what it is that you have to do, you know, in the nature of what we had to do, we can lean on a lot of other people for
Sure.
their knowledge and their expertise and their experience, you know, which can help a lot. If you do it the right way, it could be amazing. You know, because you don't have to know everything. Like, you don't have to be the one that knows everything. And I
Right.
thought at the beginning I had to be the one that had to know everything and talk about everything and be the one. But very, you know, a little bit down the road, man, I figured, like, you know what, I don't have to know everything. I can just, you know, I can alleviate a lot of pressure on myself, as, you know, I'm new. Let me hey, talk to this person who knows everything. My goal is to just make sure you know what I'm doing. That
Yep.
It took me a while to figure that out, you know, mentally, because I wanted to be I was like, oh, well, this is my business, you know, like I got to be the one, but I'm scared to be the one. But I didn't have to be the
Right.
one. You know, I can
Right.
utilize.
Well, yeah, you know what, man? I love that you said that, because I think another trait is resourcefulness, right? And being resourceful. So, you know, fortunately for us, we've had mentors, we have leadership, we have people that we can lean on. But for those people that are maybe tuning into this that don't have that, that are maybe going out on their own, I think you said something that even before I decided to go into business for myself and stuff like that, was something that I learned to kind of lean on. And that was honesty in my lack of knowledge of something, right? So I'll tell you a story. Like, when I first started serving, like, I used to serve in a restaurant as a waiter, right? When I first started serving, I got this job at Chili's. And, you know, part of being a good server is understanding the menu and different options and changes and stuff that people can make. And my first table, out of training, completely on my own, I had this family, and they came in and they were celebrating a birthday. And I think it was the dad, the kind of the head of the household, asked me a question. And I was like, you know what? I honestly do not have that answer. I will find out for you. Let me find out, and I'll get you a definite answer on what we can do. But I'm sure, we'll figure it out. We'll make it work. He's like, okay, I appreciate that. Went, found the answer. Long story short, we came up with that resolution. Fast forward a year later, here's a lesson here too. don't be lazy and actually learn your stuff and take your craft serious no matter what it is. Because a year later, Alex, bro, I'm serving this table. They come in, they're celebrating a birthday. Now I've seen thousands of people, between this in this year. And I get asked a question and I say, you know what? I don't know. I'm, kind of new here and stuff. I got used to like using that, you know what I mean? I got used to that excuse. And the dude looked at me and he was like, we were here last year celebrating a birthday and you were our server. And I was like, oh, guilty. I literally said, I was like, guilty. You know what, man, I haven't taken the time to, figure everything out here, man, but, I will get you an answer. And he appreciated it and we kind of had a laugh about it. And that was a lesson learned, like, man, take your craft seriously, learn this stuff. You know what I learned in that moment, dude, was I never wanted to look misinformed or ill-informed or uninformed or anything like that at that point, right? And it was not anything crazy serious. It's I'm serving tables and stuff, but you got to take pride in what you do, and being resourceful is one. So, I guess the point that I was trying to make for those people that don't have leadership and mentorship and maybe they're going out on their own, there's a couple things you can do when you come across something. Maybe you're prospecting somebody or you're trying to have this conversation and propose an idea or an opportunity or something like that. And you get asked a question, man, don't make up an answer, right? If you don't know, be honest. And that's going to go a long way. But if you're going to be honest and say, I don't know, but I'll find out, then you better get resourceful and find out and come back with an answer, for this person. And in that, if you're able to do that, you're going to add value and you're going to strengthen a relationship, which brings me back to what we first talked about. A key trait in building a business or entrepreneurship or anything, just life, is the ability to build relationships and communicate, right? So, yeah, honesty and resourcefulness, I think, are a couple of traits that you hit on. So, yeah, I wanted to dive a little bit deeper, but I had to learn that lesson kind of the hard way.
Hey, man, I think learning, but that it stuck with you though. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, dude, yeah, man. I did not like the feeling of looking silly, dude, stupid, really, for a lack of better words. Like, I just felt like I was embarrassed, that I got called out that way. But man, I'm so grateful now looking back that I did, because it reshaped the way I approached basically everything.
Man, I think that's huge, man. Because a lot of folks, man, me included, do not like looking stupid.
Right.
Like I don't like I don't like that. And I'd rather, and people I think appreciate the fact when you're like, you know what? I'm glad this person didn't get me wrong. It didn't misinform me, and they went out and got, what I'm saying? Like, this person didn't misinform me. They were, like you said, were truthful. People will really appreciate that. But I've had it happen with a few clients, you know what I mean, where I had to go back and, it may have took an extra step, like maybe one extra step to do that thing, but that saved me a lifetime, or it actually increased my business, because now those people are like, whoa, this person's super resourceful. They went out, they learned these things, they came back, they helped me out. Boom. But like you said, man, please become a professional. Like become a professional. I think that's probably another thing. People, when they're, I think that's probably another trait of a successful business person, entrepreneur, is they're willing to become a professional in their field. They're able to roll with punches, but becoming a professional and knowing your craft is something that, that you'll really, really, really be able to lap the competition when you know all aspects of what it is that you're doing, or at least most things about what it is that you're doing, and you can kind of fill the blanks in with other people that have better, knowledge, that come in with better knowledge. But I think when you take the time to learn your craft, take the time to, learn the things that you have control of learning. I think it's because I think you were talking a little bit about analysis paralysis sometimes can set in a little bit where you think, like way too much stuff. Yeah. I think there's a, like, you need to do, but also learn, but learning at the same time. Cause I think some people, they learn a lot, learn so much that they almost know too much and they don't do as much. I
Right.
think people will learn a lot by doing and then visiting and looking back, say, okay, how do I, and reassessing, and then their knowledge can catch up. But I think successful people do first. Like they're like, I'm gonna just go and do it, and then I'm gonna assess, do, and then assess, do, and then assess, do, and then assess. But some folks, they might just do, and they never really assess, and then they end up kind of stuck because they weren't able to evolve with changing times or changing with things that are going on. But if you do and then assess, and work almost like a forward thinking forward, not just thinking about what happened before, but thinking forward, like, okay, how can, what things are coming up that I need to get ready for. I think that's that's huge, man, for people that are, that are entrepreneurial. I think that's a trait. People that are doers, they do. Like, okay, hey, I'm gonna need you to jump, and they're already in the air. when do I come down? You know what I'm saying? I think people can work with people like that, people that do, and be able to
Well,
move.
think about like how we learn things though. Like even as kids, right? Like I, it's funny, dude, because I've been guilty, especially like with my first son. We were real kind of trying to protect him and keep him from scraping a knee or falling and hurting himself and stuff like that. And at some point, I realized like we're not doing him any favors, right? Like how we learn things as people, like how we learn to walk, is really figuring out how not to fall, right? And like if you think about it, right, how we learn that fire is hot, even though we're told it's hot, don't touch it, it's gonna hurt, is like, oh yeah, that was the truth, right? And so we learn things through mistakes and failures. But what happens when you want to gather data and continue to gather data is in that analysis paralysis, is you're keeping yourself from the actual lesson, because information is information, but it may not apply to you in the same way as it does to the source, right, that you're getting it from. Like perception is everything and stuff. So you can have data, but until you implement it in your own way, the way that you are, because we're all wired a little bit differently, and start to process that without application, like information is worthless. And so again, when we think about how we actually learn, you have to step out and take a bump, take a bruise, get a little burn, whatever, fail, right? But redefine failure, because I think you said it earlier, dude, like don't look at failure as like a loss. It's an opportunity to learn.
Yeah.
And I think we need, again, that was something that I struggled with at the beginning, was that fear of failure. And what I've come to realize is any of these conversations that I've had that didn't go, maybe with either the result that I was hoping for didn't come, I can go back and replay in my mind, and I'm like, oh, I should have said this a little bit differently, or I should have said that, or rather than you get what I'm saying, right? So the opportunity that is created in those scenarios or situations that didn't come with the result that you wanted, the opportunity really for growth is in the attempt and the failure, right? And processing and learning from. So it's crazy, man. We learn that way as kids, but when we get to adulthood, we let our brain take over, and which is really just built for survival. And we let our brain take over, and we try to avoid that feeling at all costs. So 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins, you guys, it's a great read. If you suffer from analysis paralysis, read that book or listen to it. Little plug there for you. That was a good one for me.
Yeah, man. Shoot, 5 seconds. Just do it. Hurry up. Just do it right now. Just do it. Just
yeah, the 5-Second, dude, that's a crazy book. Have you read it?
I haven't read the whole book. I haven't read the whole book, but I did watch a little video. I forget what the I don't know if it's one of those videos. It's on YouTube where they put the books and they do like a little cartoon version of the book, and it like explains the book in like maybe like 5-10 minutes. I believe that was on there. And they talked about just getting stuff done like right now. Like why not? Like just go ahead and do it. 5 seconds, boom, just do it, and then it's out the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not to, and this wasn't the whole point of this podcast, wasn't to talk about this book, you guys, but like, just so you know, we have about 5 seconds as human beings to either take action or we will talk ourselves out of it. Literally 5 seconds. So the concept of the book is when you start to feel that little bit of hesitation, you start counting backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2. And before you get to one, most people decide to take action. So it's a
Mm.
good read, good for,
Okay.
I would say, any entrepreneur, especially uh, newbies, right? So to speak.
Yeah, man. I think that, and just I think, man, like that's been a big one for me too. Just taking action as soon as you think about doing, like as soon as you think of somebody, call them, talk to them, text them.
Yep.
As soon as that's huge, man. Areas of opportunity. So kind of like we were talking about before. Whenever like different things in business that I can get better at, I call them areas of opportunity. Hey, I have an area of opportunity in building. I have an area of opportunity in how much more revenue we could be generating this month, or here's our goals and here's what we missed it by. So that's our area of opportunity to get better. And just using different verbiage like that, man, it really helps for myself. And um, you know, so another trait I think for business owners, or for somebody that's going to be an entrepreneur, is they're willing to, like you said, like they're not fearless, right? So like it's not like they don't have fear, but they're willing to go out there and take that stride, right? So they're not fearless; they just have courage, you know.
Exactly.
So having courage, like they have the willingness to go out there and just, and like you said, just do. So I think that kind of touches back on what we talked about before, but there's that. And shoot, another man, I think another a good trait is like they're willing to talk about their goals out loud. Like they don't just keep them to themselves. I think a lot of people like they keep their things to themselves. It's private. This is my goals. But I think somebody that's moving forward, like they're willing to put themselves on the line. You know what I mean? Like, here's what we're gonna do by this time. Here's what we're gonna do. I'm excited, and they get people riled up, man. Like they can move themselves, and they're able to move other people.
Yeah.
By talking about the things that are exciting to them and things that they're excited about and want to do, and change their changing their situation. I think entrepreneur, like people that have really good entrepreneurs, or a great trait to have as an entrepreneur, is somebody that talks about their goals and where they're going out loud, and they talk about them all the time.
Yep.
I think that's a really good one as well, man.
Yeah, yeah. And to touch on that a little bit, I think you hit the nail on the head. It is like speaking them out. It makes you attractive if you're looking to build and scale and you're looking for business partners or whatever the case may be. So it makes you attractive because people want to follow somebody with vision. That's one, right? It also does put your butt on the line because you're putting it out there. And so there's a level of accountability that is kind of created, when people remind you like, hey man, did you ever make that happen? Or how close are you or whatever? So there's that level of accountability.
Yeah.
There's also what it does for you and your personal psyche, speaking that stuff out loud. It's kind of programs you to look for opportunities. But I want to take it a step further, and what I believe it does too is, in I think just at our core as a human, we want to help people, right? Like I think most people are willing to help and offer something because it actually feels good if we're able to do that. Like my wife and I were going to sponsor a couple of little kids and stuff for the holidays, and that just feels good. It fills our soul, right? So I think at our core, we want to help people. But what happens when you're speaking about your goals out loud, right? Let's scratch that. If you don't speak about your goals, then people will never know if there's an opportunity for them to help you, right? They want to help you and you don't know it, but it's not until you start speaking about like, hey, I got this goal. Here's what I want to do. I want to scale across the country. And who knows, somebody's listening and maybe they just put together a program that allows unlimited reach. and they can help you, or you guys can help each other, but that will never come to fruition or become an opportunity if you're holding it in and keeping it to yourself. So speaking it out also will attract people to you that may be able to help you, and it gives them an idea of where they can fit in and help you serve your purpose. Um, so just a little side note, I wanted to dig in on that, because especially when you're in the right settings, when you're around, or in areas where people that are self-driven, hungry, motivated, entrepreneurial type business owners, when you're in a setting, like we all kind of tend to congregate around one another, in that appropriate setting, man, people's ears are open to like, hey, how could I help? How could I serve? Where can we fit in? How can we create a win-win situation? How can we help each other and stuff? But man, a closed mouth doesn't get fed.
That's it, man. All day long, that's it, man. Closed mouth, don't get fed. And I think also when you
Yes, sir.
speak out what you want to do or what you're going towards, you know, your mind, like your subconscious mind, doesn't know what's real and what's not real yet. So the more you speak
Mm-hmm.
it out and the more you talk about it, the more you talk about those things out loud, your brain starts working on how do I attract those things? How do I focus on them? The
Mm-hmm.
more you speak those things out, and especially the more you actively work at getting to those things, it just makes it
Facts.
more real. It makes it more
Yep.
real for yourself. And so being being a in being an entrepreneur, right, and moving forward and continuing to grow, um, and putting and 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 doing a little bit every day, you know, just doing a little bit every day, or a lot every day, whatever your capability is. So if somebody's working a full-time job and is trying to become an entrepreneur, so they don't have to necessarily work at their job anymore, or maybe just entrepreneur but trying to build a business that can allow them to not work at their job, or they can choose not to, or scale back hours, whatever that is. um, you have to be doing something every day that moves your business forward. I think being consistent is being consistent with business activities that move your business actually forward, not just busy work. There's things that are considered, working on your business, and things that are, working in your business that people
Mm-hmm.
do. I think we can talk about maybe just some differences on that. But I think consistency is another trait that many people fall off on, because naturally people are starters and stoppers, or
Yep.
people they start something and then they stop, and they start and they stop, and they start and they stop. I don't know if that's a natural thing, or it's just something that people do, but they start and they stop, and that's just what people do. So if somebody can be consistent and build consistency in their life, and build consistency with whatever activities that they need to do to move their business forward every day, then if you even get 1% better every day, then guess what? In 100 days, you're 100% better, right? If you focus on getting 1% better, even just every day,
Yep.
or, learning yourself. Learn yourself and become consistent, man. I think consistency is huge. Is huge, because now what it's going to take, and what because you never really know what your numbers are. If you're like, you never really know what it's going to take for you to be successful. If you do stuff for like a couple of days and you stop for 3 days, and then you do something for a couple of days and you stop.
Right.
You never really know. Like, you might trip over something that's good maybe one time or a couple of times, and a couple of really good things can happen, but it's not proven. It's it's luck. Instead of, if you're really consistent, then you tend to get lucky quite a bit. Your business tends to luckily grow every month. Your business tends to get
Right.
better all the time, because your consistency is your consistency is there. But if not, then people can kind of get that false sense of success when something just happens to happen. Even though they may put some work in, and then something happens, but they take some time off and they kind of rest on their laurels. for a little bit. But consistency wipes all that out, man. If you're consistent in doing a couple of things or doing certain things, and you know, whether it's reaching out to people, like you said, talking to people every day, making sure things within your business are getting done, whether it's business activities or whatever it is. But if you do, and then you stop, and then you do, and then you stop, there's no level of consistency. And then that's when burnout starts to happen and people start getting frustrated with themselves because they're not necessarily keeping those promises they made to themselves. And then people get depressed and then they quit.
Doubt creeps in and all of that stuff, right? But in order to build momentum in anything, you've got to be consistent. And momentum's a funny thing, right? Like it might take a while to get it, but it takes a split second to lose it. It takes one day off, like you said, or whatever the case may be. And then the challenge is in that second, you just put yourself back. You just set yourself back 2 or 3 months, right? And I did this for like the first 2 years in our business. Ed talks about it, right? You mentioned it, the stop and start, stop and start, stop and start. You get build a little progress, and then you take your foot off the pedal or whatever. So yes, consistency is key, especially if you're trying to build momentum, because momentum will leave you quick, dude. You know what I mean? Like if you don't treat it right, it's out the door. You could spend 3 months building it and literally in one day lose it all. And then now you got to wait another 3 months. Just
water in your hand. Momentum, water. Momentum is holding water in the palm of your hand, dude, and trying to run with it. You got to get it to that bucket right now, or else, you know what I'm saying? Oh man.
Yep.
It's true.
Yep. Very true, man. Very true. So tell me what you think about this, because I think, there's things, there's tangible stuff that you have to do as an entrepreneur. It's having the work ethic, the habits, consistency, things like that, moving the needle forward. Those are all absolutely truths, right? Those are absolutes. But I think the one thing that it takes, and it's funny, I just had this conversation with my son. My son wants to be a scientist. And he said, Dad, the number one thing that you got to be very good at in order to be a scientist? I said, what's that? He said, math. And I was like, yeah, that's probably true. I said, you want to know what I think is the absolute must-have thing over math even? And he said, what's that? And I said, belief. Like you have to believe with every ounce of your being that it's possible. And I think the reason why people start and stop is they have those little hiccups, those little bumps in the road, Alex, and doubt creeps in. And then there's naysayers and there's outside noise and stuff like that. But the people that actually push through that, they have belief in their mission and their vision. It's with complete clarity. They know where they're going, and no ifs, ands, or buts. As long as they keep those habits consistent, they know without a shadow of a doubt that they're going to achieve. So I think all of it comes back down to faith and belief, right? And they go hand in hand. You have to have both. But I think ultimately you have to believe. You have to believe that even through those failures, you're getting closer. You have to believe that, through whatever mistakes, whatever anybody says, you have to believe in your opportunity. You have to believe in the mission of what you're doing. You have to believe in your product. You have to believe in your ability to serve. I think it all comes down to that. And the second that you have a little bit of doubt, that's when the weeks stop. And the tough push through. And, it might sound brutal, but that's what it is.
Man, that is, woo, man. If y'all got those, man, y'all better put y'all snaps up for that one right there, man. Belief, yo, that's huge, man. Yo, belief, man. And the trip thing is, the thing is, the people that, and if you're in a business where you have to talk to a lot of, if you're going to do any business, you have to talk to people. So it doesn't even matter what the business is. You have to talk to people no matter what. The thing is, they don't have, they don't have to believe what you're talking about. They just have to believe that you believe what you're talking about. And they're like, you know what, this person is, you know what, I believe this person believes that he knows where he's going. So let me hitch my wagon onto their train. That right there is a huge, that's everything, man. Belief is where it has to start at. Belief is where it starts at. And I think consistency helps build belief, right? So it's almost like I forgot that little that circle. Well, I gotta
Oop.
pull it up. Yeah, man, it's like belief. There's like action, and then results, and then consistency, and then it keeps going, like the circle of belief. It's a consistent thing, because
Yep.
action, consistent action, pours into your belief because you're consistently acting. Consistent action turns into results, right? Then where those results go back to belief, you know what I'm saying? So you have more results, your belief continues to increase. And that's huge, man. That is a big, big deal. Belief is everything, bro. Like, that's not that's fire. Belief, bro. And so with belief, so I'll ask you this question. Well, I can put this together. So with belief, what are
Uh-oh.
some things that you've done to help with help with building that belief within yourself?
Um, Man, that's a good question. I think I've leaned on people, on a person specifically, and that's my wife. Sometimes she's actually, probably more often than not, she's believed in me during those tough times more so than I believed in myself. So having a great partner has been good for me. But it's really just, man, been through development, and one of the things is taking action and moving forward, because it does exactly like you were saying, is that action will it'll convince you that you deserve to win because you are taking those steps. So for me, as far as belief is, it's faith in my efforts. It's knowing that I have good intentions. Because obviously I want to be prosperous for myself and my family, but my intentions are good when trying to help others or lead others, with the service and stuff that we provide. So, I've developed a belief over the years in knowing that what we do is good, what we intend to do is great. Putting others first and being in service, um, I believe is always the right thing to do. And so because I have those good intentions, and I've worked on myself and I've read a ton and I've gone back to the drawing board and I've looked in the mirror and been honest with myself and said, right now you're being a lazy, you know what I mean, worthless sack of whatever. And I'm not saying, hey, negative self-talks. That's not what I'm saying. But there is a point that you have to look in the mirror and be honest with yourself. I think a lot of the times, we become complacent because we're convincing ourselves that things are just good enough. But I'll tell you what, man, if deep down inside if they're good or not, if it is good enough or not, or if this is actually your plan and your objective. And so there was times where I lied to myself, where I'm like, yeah, we're doing all right. No, we weren't. Like we were nowhere near where we wanted to be. So I think having that honest talk with myself at the appropriate times, and just knowing that, like, that winning is inevitable as long as I'm taking the steps forward and I believe that I deserve it through the actions that I'm taking, I know that it'll come. So kind of a long-winded answer, and I don't know if that made sense, but it's been multiple things. It's not just one. And again, it's been working on myself, personally developing, focusing. Sometimes it's leaning on my support system, which the best support system I've had has been my wife. And then it's monitoring my efforts and the actions that I've taken, and really knowing that through that process, winning is inevitable and I deserve to win. And then, if I'm not doing that, then I deserve everything that I'm getting, which if it's nothing, then that's on me, right? So.
Ooh, man, go and write that down. If y'all got to replay all that right there. So cause I know some of y'all need that. I needed that too. You know what I'm saying? That's huge, man. That's huge. Leaning on your support system. And if and some folks may not feel like they may not have a support system, and so if some people feel like they need to reach out to somebody that can, talk to them, like, hey man, hit us up. We will help with that. Some people feel like they're having a little bit of a tough time and like they don't know like where to lean and where to go, man. Hit us up, man. Reach out to us, DM us, right into the comments, man, if you need some help or want to, just have somebody to talk to about where they're going and what they need some help with, man. Reach out, man. We want to make ourselves available to do that, man. As we're as we continue to do this podcast here, we're here to be to partner with people in their journey to get into that next level, and help help as much as we can to help people to get to their ideal situation in their ideal life, so they can start, so they can start helping other people to do the same thing, and that's huge. But that's fire, man. Belief that's where it starts. That's how you build you can build a really strong foundation on your belief and faith. And then you tack on some action. You put action with that. You put the gasoline of action into your belief tank. put some action gas into your belief tank. You start rolling, you press the gas, and then you're rolling on the road of results. You know what I'm saying? You're rolling on that road of results, man, and you're en route to that destination of an amazing life. Just made all that up, by the way. So I think I'm gonna put that.
That was great, a great visual, bro. Because I'm like picturing a car going down the road about 1,000 miles an hour, running through that brick wall, and that's sometimes that's what it feels like.
Yeah, man, that's everything, man. Shoot. Yeah, I'm gonna work on that one, man. But I think we just gotta focus in and help each other. And I think another thing is entrepreneurs are they always say accountable.
Mm-hmm.
Accountable to themselves and be honest with you. People got to be honest with themselves and know, like, you can't blame where you're at right now on anyone else except yourself. Where you are right now is a combination of what you've done in the past,
Yeah. You know what that does, man? Like being honest with yourself, obviously it gives you, this what it done for me is when I decided to take responsibility for where we are, whether it's on track or off track, whatever the case may be. But I think when you take responsibility, it lets you know that you're actually in control, right? Like you said it earlier, if it is to be, it's up to me, right? But that can only happen, and you can only have that mindset when you take responsibility, whether it was your fault or not, right? And if you're in a leadership position, you better figure that part out. Like you fall on the sword, but you take responsibility, meaning you have the control to change the outcome in the future. But if you're constantly like a victim of circumstance or pointing the finger, oh, it didn't happen because of so-and-so. No, it didn't happen because you weren't good at closing, or it didn't happen because you went into that appointment kind of full of ego and really not prepared, or it didn't happen because you fumbled your words because you didn't practice what it was you were going to say. You didn't rehearse, right? Like, that's becoming a student and a professional, a student of your skill that needs to be developed and a professional in your industry, no matter what that is. So for me, that taking that responsibility means that I ultimately have control of the outcome, whether positive or negative. And whatever that outcome is, positive or negative, I have the ability to change it or enhance it and continue to grow it.
Ooh, man. Yo, it's not, man. We about to have some clips off this thing today. We about to have some fire, man, going off of this one, man. Going into man, I can't wait till the people hear this one, man. This is gonna be huge. Especially going into 2021 right now. I think going into 2021, man, this has been either the year of feast or famine, right? For people that are entrepreneurs and businesses, man. So for people that made a little switch and were able to kind of pivot right now through the last like 8 months or what have you, people that were able to, you know, switch things up and pivot, it's been a decent year for them. You know, a lot of them came ahead way ahead. But I think for a lot of folks, man, that weren't able to do that, it's been either a feast or a famine type of year, man. And going into 2021, we learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself these past like 8 months or however many months it's been. Since this whole pandemic thing started, I learned a lot about myself. And like, look, where you are is totally up to you, but you know, like, how can you get better? How can you get better? And daily, just by doing a little bit every day, is how I've gotten better. Like my entire situation, and learning to assess, like, and remembering like what wins you did have. Like, if at the end of this year you may not have been at whatever goal you may have set out for yourself, but just look back and see what wins you actually have. Like, what wins did you
And
actually
celebrate them.
celebrate some of the wins you actually got? Because if you've been at least somewhat consistent or been doing somewhat of something and been taking some type of action, then you have some type of wins that you must have got. So just remember those ones and celebrate those wins, because it's something. It's something. And build on that. And going into 2021, man, I think a lot of people will know, like, you know what? Here's how I gotta operate now. So going into kind of like ending this year out, I know we're gonna have a few more episodes before the year ends out yet, man. But I think so. What are some things that you think that some folks can kind of focus on ending this year properly?
I mean, I think it goes without saying is building momentum. Here's the thing about history: you can learn from it, but don't dwell in it, man. Take it as a lesson. So, if 2020 wasn't ideal, that's cool. It's not over, but you gotta utilize this next 3 or 4 weeks to build momentum going into 2021. Because I don't know about you, but I'm not trying to start 2021 off. I think I said 20 twice, but 2021 off, you know what I mean, with no momentum and from like square one. That's not what I'm trying to do. So reevaluate, give yourself grace, forget about whatever has happened negatively, like Alex just mentioned, for the last 8 or 9 months. Write some goals down on what you want to happen in the next quarter. And here's the thing about like entrepreneurship, man, there's a million things that we can improve on, but just make a small list and start checking those things off. And those are what Alex just mentioned. Those are those wins, right? And you can celebrate them. They're benchmarks, right? Maybe they're not milestones, but they're benchmarks. What I actually started to do, because in the middle of quarantine, I took a little bit of a dip, man, just being transparent. And I was like, yeah, this kind of stinks, right? Like, some things have gotten halted, some things have expanded, but it's not, where I wanted it to be. And what I did was just go back to the drawing board, and I was like, dang, there's like 100 things that I need to get done. But what I did was just make a list of 3 to 5 every day, like a power list of things that I can do, whether that was making 20 new contacts, you know what I mean, following up with a couple of old clients. It is just a power list of 3 to 5 things, so I can start to inch and move forward a little bit every day. So what I would say is, first and foremost, get a goal down that you want to accomplish in the next, the first quarter of next year. Start building some momentum, and you know what it's going to take to build momentum. If that's new contacts, if that's, going out and, and adding new associates or agents, or maybe you got to invest some money, whatever it is, you know what it is for your business. But just start making a power list of things that you can do every day to build that momentum and hit 2021 at a high level. And I think that's going to take some momentum. And you know what it is for your business, but just start making a power list of things that you can do every day to build that momentum and hit 2021 at a high level. And I think that's going to take some momentum. And you know what it is for your business, but just start making a power list of things that you can do every day to build that momentum and hit 2021 at full steam, man. That's what I'm going to do. List of
Power
goals for
list.
the first quarter and start building some momentum. Be a power list.
The power list, man. That power list, man. That hit list for the day, man. Well, and one thing, to tap into that and kind of piggyback off that is prepare the day before for what's going to happen the next day.
Yep.
Please, pre-planning has got to be on the list of things to do. Pre-plan the next day is huge, man. So then you wake up with clarity instead of waking up of what do I have to do today? So you're prepared on who do I have to talk to? What do I have to do? What's going on? Pre-planning is insanely important right now. Going into 2021, massively important. Pre-plan, put together like you said, your power list, like what I got to do. But go to sleep thinking about what you got to do the next day. So then when you wake up, you're totally clear. And all it is just you're starting off with your foot on the start line and you're boom and you're just jetting off. Because I think what I've lacked in is pre-planning that next day and doing that consistently. That's huge for me. So ending off this next year, or ending off not this next year, ending off this year, I'm focused in on pre-planning and just being in total communication, in constant communication with mentorship, but also with people that I'm mentoring. Constant communication daily, and doing that and building that momentum going into next year. Like we have to basically start 2021. Like 2021 actually start for people that are entrepreneurs and people that are getting after it. 2021 are already started. Right? 2021 is literally in motion right now. Like I'm doing right now what's going to be done the first and second months of 2021. That's going to be completed those first. I'm starting now. So December is like the pre-2021, right? So like 2021 for us doesn't start on January 1st. It actually starts on like December because we got to get ahead of it.
Started 3 days ago.
You know what I'm saying? It started a couple of days ago, man. So, for the ones that's getting after it, man, 2021, pre-2021 is December. You know what I mean? So, we're focused, man, and just getting after it. I think this is kind of a good to end off on a high on this one, man. I think this has been impactful. This has been great. To get December going, man, to start December off with a fire. I'm talking about fire podcast, man. Like this one was very big for me. I learned a lot just listening from what you were saying, man. And this is big stuff, man. So just remember, you guys, like, comment, subscribe. Feedback is everything, right? And we just got the Instagram going for the No Pressure No podcast, or No Pressure No Diamonds. We just got our Instagram going up right now. We're gonna have this episode coming out this next week here, so we really appreciate you guys tapping in. Like, comment, subscribe, like I said before, man. And no pressure, no diamonds. Let's get it.